Are you going ahead and suing the BBC?
Well, I guess I have to. Why not? Because they defrauded the public, and they've admitted it, and their top echelon.
Director General and the CEO
This
both
is
resigned.
within one of our great allies. They actually changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it. What they did was rather incredible. They're showing me the results later on, the results of what they did, how they butchered it up. But it was very dishonest, and the head man quit, and a lot of the other people.
But tonight you are saying to our viewers that you will go forward and file a defamation lawsuit against the BBC.
Well, I think I have an obligation to do it because you can't allow people.
In today's episode, we're unpacking a story that sits at the explosive intersection of media, politics, and the law. President Donald Trump is threatening to sue one of the world's most respected broadcasters, the BBC, for a staggering $1 billion. The accusation? That the BBC deliberately doctored a speech he gave on January 6, 2021 to make him sound like he was inciting violence. But does he actually have a case? We'll explore the edited footage, the legal hurdles, and what this clash means for journalism in the modern age. This is Trump versus the BBC. The controversy centers on an October 2024 episode of the BBC's flagship investigative program, Panorama. The documentary examined the events of January 6th, but it was a specific editing choice that lit the fuse. The program spliced together two separate parts of Trump's speech, delivered 54 minutes apart, creating a single, misleading sentence. Viewers heard Trump say, "We're going to walk down to the Capitol and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell." But that's not what he said in that sequence. What he actually said was, "We're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women." The line about fighting like hell came nearly an hour later in a different context. The fallout was immediate and severe. A leaked internal memo from a BBC ethics advisor flagged the edit as a serious breach of standards. In the ensuing crisis, the BBC's Director General and the CEO of BBC News both resigned. The broadcaster's chairman issued a public apology, calling the edit an error in judgment. But for Donald Trump, an apology wasn't enough. He called it a deliberate attempt to defraud the public and declared he had an obligation to sue. So, what does it take to win a billion-dollar defamation lawsuit in the United States? For a public figure like Donald Trump, the mountain is incredibly steep. This is thanks to a landmark 1964 Supreme Court case, New York Times versus Sullivan. This case established the actual malice standard. It's not enough to prove that a statement was false and damaging to your reputation. A public figure must prove, with clear and convincing evidence, that the publisher either knew the statement was false when they published it, or that they acted with reckless disregard for the truth. Reckless disregard means more than just being sloppy. It means the journalist or editor had serious doubts about the truth of their reporting but published it anyway. It's a standard designed to protect free and robust debate on public issues, even if it includes vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials. Let's break down the arguments. Trump's legal team will argue that the BBC's edit wasn't just an error, but a calculated act of malice. They'll point to the resignations and the leaked memo as proof that the BBC knew it was broadcasting a distortion. As one legal expert, Professor Bert Newborn of NYU, noted, this wasn't innocent splicing. The core of their argument is that the BBC knowingly disseminated something that purported to be verbatim, but wasn't. They'll also point to Trump's history of successfully suing media giants. He secured a $16 million settlement from CBS's parent company in 2025 and $15 million from ABC News over other claims of misrepresentation. On the other side, the BBC has a powerful defense. First, they will argue that while the edit was an error, it wasn't malicious. They will claim the overall documentary was substantially true in its portrayal of the events of January 6th. Their lawyers will also challenge the very idea that Trump's reputation was harmed, let alone to the tune of $1 billion. As Professor Larissa Lidsky of the University of Florida points out, proving those damages seems implausible given he won the presidency after the documentary aired and his businesses continue to thrive. But the BBC's first line of defense might be even simpler: jurisdiction. The Panorama episode was never broadcast in the US. It was only available on the BBC's online streaming platform. To sue in Florida, Trump's chosen venue, his lawyers must prove that a sufficient number of people in Florida actually watched the documentary and were misled by it. If they can't, the case could be thrown out before it even begins. Furthermore, Florida has an anti-SLAPP law designed to quickly dismiss frivolous lawsuits intended to silence free speech. While using it is risky, if the BBC loses the motion, they have to pay Trump's legal fees. It provides a powerful tool to shut down a meritless case early. So, where does this leave us? While the billion-dollar price tag makes for a dramatic headline, most legal experts believe Trump faces a monumental challenge. He must prove jurisdiction in Florida, overcome the high bar of the actual malice standard, and then somehow quantify $1 billion in damages to his reputation. Many see this less as a serious legal endeavor and more as a political strategy. As Seth Stern of the Freedom of the Press Foundation puts it, he doesn't care if he wins or not. The point is to intimidate and punish those he views as critical to him. This case, whether it proceeds or not, highlights the immense pressure on news organizations to be precise and impartial, especially when covering polarizing figures. An error in judgment can spiral into a full-blown crisis, providing ammunition to those who seek to discredit the media. It's a stark reminder that in the battle for public trust, the facts and how they are presented matter more than ever. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Join us next time as we continue to explore the stories behind the headlines. I'm your host, signing off.